Hello folks, so as you can see I'm still in the same clothes that I was yesterday when I was filming the previous video where I was talking about the rumors. So today Canon has just had the launch of the R6 Mark III and the Canon RF45 1.2, which I want to ask Canon one thing. Why Canon started doing all of these changes after I decided to leave Canon and sell all my RF lenses and RF gear? Damn you, Canon. Because the RF45 1.2, which I'm not going to talk about, but just briefly, it costs less than 600 euros, okay? And it's a freaking RF lens. It's a 45 millimeter 1.2. It's just 5 millimeter less than the 50, the classic Nifty 50 1.8, right? But this time 1.2. So chapeau to you, Canon. And then the price for the R6, it's even more crazier, because this camera is coming in at $2,799, which here, at least in Finland, counting all the taxations and stuff in it, is gonna come in at 3,129, which is almost 150 euros less than the Lumix S1 Mark II. Canon, what are we doing here? Like, Canon just want to come in strong. And I don't even think there is only one thing that they actually kept out from this camera, which I was deeply disappointed about, which we will talk later on in this video. But I will just suggest you to just buckle up. We are going to sit down, have a long chat, because there is a lot to talk about, like a lot to talk about. So let's start from the photography part, because I have to be sincere. The photography part is the part that probably changed the least. And basically, what do they bring, right? So they increased the resolution from the previous 24 to basically 32.5. So basically this is the lens, the sensor from the C50, which is a beast of a cinema camera. And then you're gonna have a 20 frames per second pre-capture mode. So that's pretty neat. There is finally a dynamic range improvements while you're shooting in electronic mode, because previously with the previous Canon R6 cameras, you will significantly lose dynamic range when you will switch from mechanical to electronical. So yes, this camera has mechanical shutter as well. And then there is this registration phase for the IF mode. So you are able to register 10 faces that basically this camera will recognize no matter in which environment you are. If the person face is AI registered in the camera, it's going to be locked on that person, which it's pretty neat as a feature, especially if you are at an event and you are, basically being hired to just photograph one creator. This function is really useful in that case, because then that creator, that you point the camera to that creator when he's in the middle of a lot of crowds, it will just focus strictly on him, and that can save you a lot of time. So that's it on what it has been more or less improved, on the photo side. And if you want to know more, I would just suggest you to just go straight and look at the Canon R6 Mark II, and most probably soon people will be doing, comparison videos. So that's be it. And video side, because that's where Canon decided I'm gonna punch you guys in the face, right? This camera and this feature, I have to say that they are gonna be quite comparable to the Lumix S1 Mark II, which I think that's where Canon was literally trying to, go and steal people and kind of retain his own customers to themselves, because they didn't really hold back. I thought they would hold back, but they didn't. So first thing first, on the body, they changed the full size from the micro HDMI. They changed it to the most loved full size HDMI, which is a super welcome thing. And through that, you are able to record ProRes RAW 7K open gate up to 60 frames per second. Then we have 7K RAW internally, okay? Internally, and MP4. So all of this is going to be internal. So we have done with the external part, internal. So you are able to record 7K open gate 3x2 up to 25 frames per second or 24, depending where you are in the world. Then you have 2 frame markers that you can set. So you can set your standard 16:9 and then your 9:16 for your social media. So that's pretty neat, pretty cool. Then you have 7K up to 60 frames per second raw light 3x2, still internally. Then you have 4K standard up to 120 frames per second with, I believe, a 1.1x crop. So you have 4K 120 as well. And then you're gonna have 2K as well, up to 180 frames per second. And then you're gonna have 1080p, 180 frames per second. You have the ability to record proxies internally to your SD card. And then you have C-Log 2, 3, HDR-PQ, Canon 709. So finally, Canon has brought the C-Log 2 to be most probably the standard log in most probably all their cameras, because this is going to be their main pro consumer camera from now on. So you have it, and finally now you can have it all across the line with all the other Canon cameras. So that is really cool. It has an unofficial dual base ISO when you are recording in C-Log 2, so 800 and 6400 like the C50. It has IBIS with 8.5 in the center and then 7.5, I believe, in the corners. And it has a pretty new cool thing in the IBIS, which is called Subject Tracking IS, which it's something that I believe Nikon introduced earlier with their previous cameras, where you can basically select a subject and it's going to crop in a little bit and like stabilize the whole frame based on that subject. So while the subject is moving, is going to stabilize more one part of the frame so that it doesn't get too jittery, right? So that's a pretty cool new thing. It's going to have a tele light. It's going to have ability to choose between 4K fine and 4K standard. So it even gives you more choices, which we are lacking with Lumix, which I really hope Lumix will actually open up on that sense, that you don't need to have only 4K oversampled 7K, or in a Lumix case 6K, but you will have the ability to shoot the standard UHD, so you can kind of get rid of that sharpening that many people are complaining about, right? Then there is waveforms on the screen while you are recording, so it's not going to disappear. Your Instagram, which I don't know in video, why would you really rely on the Instagram, but the Instagram will disappear, but the waveforms and, you know, the line, I think horizon line will stay on the screen, and everything else will stay on the screen. So that is a really cool thing. Now we are gonna get into a little bit difficult area and a bit sensitive area for many of us, which is overheating, right? So remember, overheating issue with this camera, it's probably gonna be a thing, but now this camera is in pre-production, so it can vary according to many aspects. So where you're based, where you're filming, where you are, and so on. So we have to just be sincere and open here. because later we are going to talk even about another thing that I was disappointed about. And so now let's get into straight. So what I did, because I'm still such a small creator that I don't have the ability to test these cameras, I basically took 3 different creators and then I basically analyzed what they were talking about and what they're saying, and then brought the information here. So according to Petapixel, so Jordan, the 4K fine, basically he recorded over an hour, right? So just remember that they are based in Canada, so during this time of the year it's a little bit colder weather, right? So 4K fine over an hour. 4K 60, the camera shut down after about 30 minutes. Kai W, so he's based in the UK. So during this time, the weather is more or less like here in Finland, so a bit colder, but they were shooting indoors in the Canon HQ, I believe. That's what he said. And they were shooting in 7K 3x2. The camera shut down after 6 minutes. Okay, then let's go to Anthony Gugliotta, who I believe is based in the US, and he was wearing a jacket, so it was autumn. So I guess the weather is more or less like here as well, so on the little bit colder side. So when he was recording 7K raw light up to 60 frames per second, the camera shut down. He didn't say how long, but the camera shut down. And then when he was recording 7K raw 25, the camera didn't shut down. The first try, after like 40 or 50 minutes, he had to change card. And then basically after that, he recorded until the battery died. But he never had an overheating warning, except, you know, that Canon has that overheating. I think it's actually really cool that they have that. I would love to have that in the Lumix as well. But the overheating reading thermometer thingy, it was always on the 4 tag, so the camera never shut down, and he was recording, I believe, indoors. So these are more or less the informations that I was able to gather from the videos that are available as for now, 10 o'clock EEST, because I believe many other people will release it in the morning because it's freaking 1 a.m. in the US. So I guess all the rest of them are still testing and will release the video most probably later on today. So let's talk about what I was a little bit disappointed about, right? There are just a couple of things. I would have loved for them to actually put in the R6 the same fan system they had on the R5, because I can understand that maybe they didn't want to step on the toe of the C50, because in that case they're like, if you want to do that, just go on the C50. I can understand that, but I'm more a person of like, you give us the choice and then let us choose, because in any case the C50 is a one in all camera, right? While with the R6 Mark III, you will need to buy a supplementary thing, which will make the camera even bulkier. But at the same time, it will allow Canon to make more money, right? Which all of this releasing of things, it's about business, making more money, right? So this will have been another way to milk more money from us, right? But so they didn't do that. So the Canon R6, there is no other way to override the overheating issue or to bring some more air, except by using, you know, these third-party models like the Ulan-CC U1, for example, and so on. So there are ways where you can navigate around that, but there is no first-party things that you can use to navigate around that. So that is one disappointment. The second disappointment, which it's whatever, it would have been really, really cool to actually get the 4-axis, you know, freeway monitoring thing. So to have all the ways to flip, you know, the camera, so tilt and then flip as well, and then the 4-axis. Unfortunately, Canon didn't go that way. It would have been really cool because it seems like that's the way that now everyone might be going. Nikon still hasn't went that way, of course, but Lumix has, and since then Sony did with the A7R5. They did their version because Lumix is the one that started it. Everyone forgets about it, but Lumix is the one that actually brought it with the S1H, I believe. That was the first one that did it. And then Sony came out with the A7R5. And then we seen it, you know, with the, I believe, R1. And then Lumix came out with the S1 series of cameras as well. So it would have been good for Canon to get into that trend as well, but I guess they are not interested as for now. Then the least but not the last disappointment was the fact that this camera has open gate, but you don't have any way to monitor that open gate straight from the camera monitor. You will always need an external monitor to be able to de-squeeze the anamorphic de-squeeze, right? So that's another thing that it's just a firmware update away from fixing this issue. So I don't know, might be that at the point where this camera will start shipping, they might have already released this firmware update to fix most of these issues, except of course the overheating part and the freeway. So basically only the de-squeeze we need. And yeah, so my final thoughts. As for what we have seen until now, this camera is set to be probably the best camera of next year. Like between this and the S1 Mark II, you will not go wrong. They basically do the same things. They basically have the same things, and except the body. I still prefer the S1 having a fan, even though it still overheats, but the S1 somehow, and the 4-way axis of the screen as well. So in that case, I would still go with the Lumix over the R6 Mark III just because of that, because both of them are going to overheat. There is no discussion there, and there is no way to overwrite that part. But we have these modules now, so you can use these modules. But if I would have to choose only because of the body, I would go with the Lumix, and because I use Lumix stuff. But for Canon users, you are lucky now, because now you have everything that you need, which Lumix is still lacking the cinema part. But you guys have the C50 right now and the R6 Mark III right now. So you can be as happy as little lads in this moment. And now, Sony people, because Andrea Pizzini from from Sony Alpha Rumors has said it, that Sony people, you should be happy because there is a big news coming soon. So let's wait and see what he's talking about and what he's teasing right now, right? So yeah, 18 minutes of video. Hope you guys were here with me, listening and blubbering, and let's share down below in the comments. Let's have a big chat and let's together rise and enjoy with this amazing era of technology. But yeah, I'm done. I have to get ready to go in my 9-to-5 job right now. So take good care of yourself mentally, spiritually, and physically. And I'm going to see you in the next one.